right, we are at the 15-minute mark for our last session of the day. And we have Nikki Riga on, the woman behind our blogs at Fit Degree, to talk to us about creating retention strategies that will keep your clients committed. So, Nikki, whenever you're ready, we'll invite you on. And I know it's late on your end. Nikki is in London this week. So, coming from us from across the pond, how are you?
It is a little late, so it looks kind of like
I
scary.
got
Plus, I'm in this little flat,
sun hitting
so
me in the face, and you got, nighttime behind you.
yeah, what is it? It's 9:15. Yeah, it's a little late, but that's okay. I've had a full day of traveling and touring with my toddler. So after this, it's definitely bedtime, but happy to be here.
Glad to hear it. It's got to be a little fun. And yeah, so why don't you tell a little bit? I said I introduced you as the woman that writes our blogs, but you do much, much more than that. So a little bit of background on how you got here.
So I am the voice behind the blogs, which is fun because normally I don't get to speak, right? I just get to talk with my hands. So hi, nice to hear and see maybe and chat with you guys not behind a keyboard. My name is Nikki. I own Limitless Consulting. This is actually my second company. Before I was a consultant, I was a studio owner. So I originally owned a studio in Bay Area, California. I started consulting a year into that, not on
Oh,
purpose.
wow.
I had hired a consulting company that specialized in boutique fitness. And within 6 months of starting the program, they asked if I would be interested in joining the team. So I did both. I consulted and ran my own studio for a couple of years. And then we sold my studio back in 2019. So good timing, not gonna lie.
Yes.
Right when we moved to a new state and I had my son. So now I spend my time virtually working with other studios all over the world, including my old one. So still involved.
Nice.
Mhm.
That's nice. That's got to be nice to still be involved with that studio.
I do get to be involved. So it's like I call it my firstborn. That's my first child.
Awkward conversations. Your son gets older, but yeah,
I know,
it's always
but
going to be that way.
definitely my first baby.
All right. So whenever you're ready, I saw that you have a beautiful presentation to present, and yeah, the show is yours.
This is a topic I can talk about all day. So I did email and was like, how long can this be? So I have to keep it to 45 minutes, right?
Yes, seems like every session's running over because that's my favorite thing. Get people to talk about their favorite thing.
I will do my very best. I could talk about this for a day and still have things to say. Um, a lot of the pictures that you guys will see, both now and in the recording, right? A lot of these pictures come from my studio. My studio was founded on the idea of community. Our conversion rate was insane. We converted about 80% of our clients to membership, and we kept 98% of our clients year over year. So I am a huge believer in retention strategies. I will talk about like specifics as we get farther, but just know that these pictures and these strategies are not only used in my studio still, but they're used in all of my client studios as well, because a lot of times we're so busy focusing on acquisition, right? How to get more leads is the first question I am asked on almost every single one of my like intro to my business. Everyone wants to know how to get more leads, that and how to hack their Instagram. You
Ugh,
really don't need either of those things. You
right.
don't need to worry about your Instagram, and you don't necessarily need more leads, right? You need to keep your members and you
Hmm.
need more people to stay. So changing that idea, first and foremost, if you take nothing away from me in the next 45 minutes, I want you to think about keeping your members rather than trying to constantly hustle to bring more people into your business, because you would save yourself a lot of money, right? And effort and time
Hmm.
and bandwidth. So here's a quote you've probably seen before. Oh, my first line is connect. I'm going to talk about connecting a lot. But acquiring a new customer is anywhere from 5 to 25 times more expensive, depending on the cost of your marketing, than retaining an existing one. That is huge, 5 to 25 times, depending on your marketing costs, than just keeping your current clients. So somebody earlier talked about your conversion, right? Somebody talked about conversion today, which is one of my other favorite topics. So I'm going to try really hard to stick in retention. That way we're getting this full, well-rounded conference. But I want to keep reiterating that if you concentrate on the people in front of you, You don't have to spend so much money and time and effort hustling. 5 to 25 times. That's huge. Another stat for you is that 1/3, it's a little bit more than 1/3 of fitness clients don't stay long-term, and long-term is anything more than 12 months. This is this is not a made up number. This is a statistic. All of the everything's linked in this slideshow, so you guys can check out where all of these quotes came from later. But over 1/3 of clients tend not to stay long-term. Now, this is including big gyms, right? So that's important to say. It's a little bit better for boutique fitness than it is for big gyms. But think about how much money you could be keeping if you did better than that 1/3 attrition rate. So like I said, my studio previously, we did about a 98% retention rate, which is huge.
That's incredible.
Most of my clients now, their studios also see between 95 and 99% of a
Oh my
retention rate.
goodness.
We really drill it at Limitless because it's so important for your bottom line, right? Like I was sitting in the presentation before this talking about bottom line stuff. As she was talking, I was over here like cheering because bottom line coaching is so important. We always coach on the top line stuff, or we always hear top line coaching. How many
Yes.
members did you get? How many leads did you get? I want to know how many members you kept. I want to know how many people stayed and what they're spending continuously in your recurring revenue. So these are just stats to like start out. When I start coaching a new client, I tend to see conversion rates of intro to membership around 10%. There was an entire year, this was years ago. I was a newish coach. It was in my second year of coaching. Everybody who came in and started with me had a 6% conversion rate from new client lead into member. 6%, only 6% of their clients were staying. And that's how we realized, okay, you're losing all of this money here. And then we looked at how many stayed past the 3-month mark, and it was like 2%. So we are going to start focusing on people staying. We're going to start with something called the rule of 7. The rule of 7 I learned during my MBA, and it was actually about keeping employees. So this was one of my management courses, said that if you can make 7 connections between your staff and each other, then they are significantly more likely to stay more than 5 years. So I put this into my own studio. This is in my business plan, actually, of my first business, is how to create 7 connections during the intro process and the first month. So however long your intro process is, right? If your intro process is only 3 classes, it's going to be a little bit trickier. But we're still aiming for 7 connections. That can be other staff. It could be the owner. It could be other clients. It can be other newbies if you connect the newbies together, right? But your goal is 7. Remember that number.
I like that a lot because it reminds me of what Nicole was talking about, of like creating safety, of like creating all those connections. It's starting to feel, and I don't know if it was Nicole or someone else, of just like now it's becoming your third home because you feel connected to the
Exactly.
studio.
You are so much less likely to lose a client who maybe you cancel her class because it's not doing well, right? Before this, the presenter was talking about the 10:30 class, right? We've all had that 10:30 class that has like 2 people in it. But let's say you cancel that class, you are so much less likely to lose that client if all of her friends also go to your studio. At Flex, which was my first company, my first studio, at Flex, we would have people get divorced and like fight over who got to keep Flex Fusion, or people would move away and they would drive 45 minutes to keep going to the studio because all of their friends also went to the studio. You can really like cancel proof your gem if you have that 7 connections for each one of your clients, right? I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember the name now, but the idea that everybody is like interconnected, right? So you start with your founding crew, and then they have 7 friends and 7 friends and 7 friends. Now your gym is like a spider web of retention.
Yes.
So another homework point, I like to give like action item homework points. I actually might be able to drop these in the chat. Let's see.
Well, we'll have this all recorded, and I'm going to outline key points like this. So yeah, if we could break this out and create it as a resource, that'd be great.
Oh yeah, I can. So your first one is the idea of the rule of 7, right? here's a couple of ways that you can build that connection, not just amongst your new clients, right, during their intro, but amongst your members as well. You are naturally going to have members who are more introverted or more outgoing. And I'm going to talk about those in a little bit. We call those ambassadors at my studio. But this came about because I was new to Silicon Valley. I was the new girl, and I was kind of shopping around all of the boutique fitness studios, seeing where I wanted to hang out. And I was lonely because I am a former sorority girl. So I went from a sorority house full of like 100 friends to being completely isolated in a new state, in a new city, trying to
Oh my
find
goodness.
a dang gym, right? Where
Yeah.
someone cared that I was there or not. And it was so hard to find. I would just sit in the mat by myself in the corner, either in complete silence, which is awkward enough, or with like little cliques of people who like all had their own friend. And as I was planning the business plan for Flex, I was like, okay, first line is that Flex Fusion is a community-oriented studio where people go to find friends first, because most people are going to boutique fitness in studio fitness. They're looking for connection and community, right? Otherwise, they would stay at home on their Peloton.
Yes.
So
yes.
that's what they're looking for. So you might as well give it to them, or they're going to keep looking until they find it. So connection building, 6 steps. You guys will have this broken out as well. The easiest one, when you get a new client, introduce them to the other staff. We call it the handshake, which I will talk about in point 5. But if you introduce them to one more person, you're already at 2, right? You're almost halfway there. We then choose their neighbor. Same thing if we have a new-ish like class packager or a member who's in their first month of their membership. Our desk staff or our teacher is trained. There's a lot of staff trainings going on at Flex, a lot of staff trainings going on with the Limitless studio owners as well. Choose their neighbor purposefully. So we will kind of like match.com who they're sitting next to in the studio. So we'll put a mat down and I always think of Nicole because she is my ambassador at my studio. I will put new clients next to Nicole because she is like a little mother duck, mother hen, and she'll invite them in and chat with them. And I don't want to put my new client next to, or my new member next to one of my quiet clients, who's just trying to escape her kids. That's not going to help build connection.
That's a funny way, but yeah, playing matchmaker, that makes a lot of sense.
Choose your neighbor. We call them workout buddies at my studio. So for our more complicated classes like circuited, where people go around the room, Flex Fusion is a multimodality studio: bar, boot camp, yoga, circuited, TRX, Pilates. She's a big girl. We choose their workout buddy. So number 2, now they've met your desk staff or your owner. They've met another staff member. You've picked their neighbor. You're over halfway there, and it's only been 1 class, right? Step 3, facilitate introductions between your clients. This is not just new clients. I mean, every class. You can decide how you want to do this. When I teach, I tell everybody, okay, look to the left, look to the right, introduce yourself to your neighbor. Nobody wants to work out with strangers. That is my way of speaking, right? You may change that. You may have a different way. You may formalize it. If you're like a serious yoga studio, maybe that doesn't fit your vibe. But think about how you can facilitate introductions between people. Maybe that's at the lockers or at the desk. An easy one is if you know your clients well, you can say, oh, Jenny, this is Sarah. Sarah's got elementary kids too. Where are your kids going to school? Leave them alone. Let them do their thing. You've now passed that client off, right? Facilitate introductions. You are helping these adults. I wrote a blog on this for Limitless, and it was called Boutique Fitness Magic, the Boutique Studio Magic. What makes us so special is that it's one of the few places adults can go to make friends without it being like a formal date, right?
Yeah.
Or work friends. Where are you going to go to meet people? You go to the gym, right? Help your clients make friends. Now you're doing a little bit of matchmaking from like a platonic sense, right? But you're also cancel proofing your studio. These clients are never going to leave. Never. Because all their friends go there. So you're facilitating introductions. Good for you. Good for the client.
Mm-hmm.
My little brother just moved to Portland, and he moved all the way over from Boston. He knows nobody. And so I asked him, like, how's the friend thing going? He's like, I'm having a hard time, but I did meet this other guy in yoga. He's a developer just like me. And I was like, that's where you go. Good job.
Yes.
Go to boutique fitness. Hopefully he's going to find a flex that's going to help facilitate, right? But that's
Well,
number
it
three.
makes sense. Like if you invited a friend to a party where they don't know anybody, you would introduce them to people, and you
Exactly.
would introduce them to someone you think they would get along with. And
Mhm,
in this case, it's your studio, it's
mhm.
your party, and you're trying,
Exactly. I
and
love that.
it's like you got to introduce them to someone, or else why are they going to come back? They're like, I felt really uncomfortable the whole time. Instead of, oh, I met this person, and because you know everybody, you're like,
Yeah.
I think you'll get along with this person based
Mhm.
on your intake form. So that is
Exactly.
we talk about it right now of like word of mouth and referrals is our best lead generator. So
Mhm.
now we're talking about, okay, how do we manufacture word of mouth? Like it's already happening. It's like, how do we make it happen more? And it's like, if people are already making friends at the studio, how do we kind of manufacture friends to
Exactly.
happen faster? It's going
Mhm.
to happen. So I'm just kind of rambling now, but I
No,
love
yeah,
those points.
that's exactly right. Right. You want to help create these relationships, not just for you, but also because you want your clients to be happy, right? You
Right.
want them to
Yeah.
be
You're like,
happy
I'm doing something
and you
good
want them to
here.
stay.
Yes.
Oh man, number four, high fives after class. I heard I was on another expert panel and the guy was talking about high fives after class and someone else was like, can we still do that in COVID? I think post COVID, you can go back to high fives after class. Flex does it. We tell everybody, like, tell your neighbor they did a good job. And that can either be a fist pump or a high five or, whatever. But it's a way of like kind of breaking or like piercing the shield between like class time. My studio, the whole point is that we don't take ourselves very seriously, but during class, I try not to let them like chatter, right? Because that's very distracting. So we're in class, we're concentrating, we're paying attention. Class is over, lights go on, tell your neighbor they did a good job. That like tells everybody, okay, you should chat, you should communicate,
Yeah.
you should chat on your way out to the lockers. So this is just another way of bringing everybody back together and telling them, okay, it's time to talk.
I like that.
Your handshake. This is a flex thing. It's also now become a limitless thing, right? But I don't think that this had a name before I did it with my staff. So we train on this. We have quarterly staff meetings at Flex because community is our entire first paragraph of the business plan, right? So the teacher handshake, sometimes we call it the boomerang, is our front desk staff, which we call a bartender. Our bartender brings the client to the teacher and literally, this is Sarah, this is Carly. Here's what Sarah told me at the desk. She's yours now. Carly takes the client, introduces her to our ambassador, so our friendly client in class, sits her down and says, okay, Sarah, this is member, this is Sarah. Sarah's brand new. This is her first class. This is member, and she has 300 classes in here. You're the best of hands. I'm going to let you guys take it from here. My ambassador knows that her job is to chit chat. Her job is to help this client take her under her wing. This is all a really formal program at Flex. After class, ambassador takes her to teacher takes her to desk staff says, how was class? Let's book you for your next one. This is super rehearsed in my
Yeah.
studio. But if you were to read like our Yelp reviews or my clients' Yelp reviews, it feels like the friendliest, most welcoming, most organic process in the world. The clients have no idea this is going on, except
That
for
is so
my
funny.
5
Ambassador.
ambassadors and my staff, right? So it's that whole boomerang, desk to teacher to nice client, back to teacher, back to desktop, who's going to say, let's book you for your next class. This is the same for members in their first month. Remember, I'm not just talking about intro clients here. I'm talking about if your 12-month member takes a break for a month and comes back after vacation, she goes back into the teacher handshake. If you have a class packager who takes one class a month, she's always in the teacher handshake, right? So we're always just rebuilding community, re-emphasizing that we are a community here. It will start to soak into the walls. The more you hear yourself talk about how you are community centered and connection centered, the more your clients will take over. Until one time I was standing at the desk and a new client came in, and one of my other members was like, oh my gosh, you're going to love it here. It's so community centered. And I was like, there it is. There's the business
That's gotta
plan.
feel amazing.
The
That's like,
first word off the business plan is coming out the mouths now.
yeah, well, it's the brand, right? And it's
It's the
like
whole point.
marketing's what you say, branding's what your clients say, and the brand
Totally.
is community.
And
So
culture is what soaks into the walls, right?
yes, yes.
People would come in and be like, man, the studio has a really good vibe. I'm like, yeah, it's the community culture that has soaked into the walls and
We
now it's
work
part of our
damn hard
potpourri.
for that vibe. Yeah.
That's my whole business plan in a nutshell. I am now in a new state. I just moved again about a month ago, and I'm looking for my new studios. And you can feel a studio vibe within 5 seconds of walking in the door, right? You can feel it. And I walked into a new studio who actually she just became my client last week. So she did some digging, realized I was a coach. I did not tell her. I try
Mhm.
not to lead with that because it's intimidating for people, right? But I walked in and one of the new clients was like, "Oh my gosh, you're going to love it here. Let me help you set up. Let me introduce you to the teacher." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys have a handshake system and you don't even know it."
That is
So
so funny.
that new owner and I are going to practice that so that we can perfect it because she's already got it, right? The clients are already trying. Okay, I have to talk faster. I'm going to fit this all in.
Yes.
This goes back to what I said earlier. Most clients join an in-person gym for community, right? Because they can get top-notch fitness at home now. I mean, if they wanted to be alone, they would most likely be in their living room using their
Right.
Peloton. So here is my magic list. You can screenshot it or you will get this later. But this is
Mhm.
my list of retention items that I do at Flex and that my clients do with Limitless. This whole list happens every quarter, at least.
Oh wow.
It is, like I said, the whole point of Flex, right? We're community first, everything else second. Client first, everything else second. Number one, challenges. I'm going to roll through these quick and dirty. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in there. I've also written blogs on pretty much every single one of these items. Remember, retention is kind of my jam. So it's either on Fit Degrees blog or it's on yourlimitlessstudio.com's blog in the member section. Okay, so number one, challenges. Just wrote a blog about this last week. Challenges are the key to my clients' hearts
Hmm.
and also the key to our attendance. So there are a lot of different ways to run a challenge, right? There's the 20 and 30, 40 and 60, 60 and 90, all of those where you take an X number of classes in X number of days. But if you're building community, you could do a team challenge. We do
Hmm.
team challenges every May because May is a really lame time for boutique fitness in Bay Area, California, because everybody is doing something, right? We get a lot of people who have graduations or dance recitals or nobody's in the studio in May. So we run a team challenge to try and drag them back. Members are put on teams of 5 based on when they take class. So we don't want the 6 a.m.er with a 6 p.m.er, right? Because they're never going to see each other. They don't even know the other exists. So we put them on teams based on their time of day. We ask if you would like to participate. We charge for challenges at my studio somewhere between $5 and $25. Fun little revenue source there.
Yeah.
People sit like, we'll ask them like, "Hey, Nick, do you want to be in the challenge?" And you say yes. We say, "Okay, we'll put it on your tab." And we just charge the card on file, just like that.
There you go.
Easy little revenue boost. So team challenges, if you haven't run one before, try a team challenge. Milestone celebrations. The very first blog I wrote for Your Limitless Studio was on milestones. I could do an entire expert panel on milestones and I would still have an hour to fill. So milestone is your 100 class bar, your 250, your 500, your 750, your 1,000 class bar. We do bars at my studio because originally we were a bar studio, right? But celebrating your clients for their special celebrations, celebrating when they do their 100 classes and sign the bar, and at my studio you get a tank top. For your 1,000 class, you wear a cape through class. We do champagne afterwards. There's cheering, like it's a big freaking deal to hit 1,000 classes,
That
right?
is, yeah.
Celebrate your clients, celebrate their wins. I was invited to a wedding right after I moved. I had to come back for this wedding. And her name was Jen. And Jen drove 45 minutes to get to Flex because she had moved away. She drove 45 minutes every freaking morning at 9 a.m. And then all of the people she invited to her wedding were Flex fam. They were my clients. And she, during her toast, talked about how Flex Fusion saved her life. about how the community and the members and the celebrations that she felt when she hit her milestones saved her life during a really dark time in her life. And I bawled, right? Like, talk
Yeah.
about your mission statement. Celebrate your clients. These milestones, like, it may not seem like a huge deal as the studio owner for someone to hit like their 100 classes, but to somebody else, that could be the start of like their next phase, their next big thing. So
Oh yeah,
celebrate.
I mean by 100, that's become a lifestyle.
Exactly.
Assuming it's happened in a reasonable time frame, but
Totally.
like, I mean, even 100 in a year, that's a lot for
Mhm.
most people that, said
Totally.
I've never been able to hold down a workout routine before, but I walked past the studio and I wanted to give it a try. I agree.
We make a big deal out of it at Flex. They get posted on Instagram. We have a countdown on our emails that say how many
Mhm.
classes to go to all of the different tiers. Like, it's a big deal. One time I
Yeah,
forgot to put somebody on. She was like, I'm in 2 days. I hit my 100 classes. I was like, oh my gosh, Susan, I'm so sorry. It's
that's
a big deal.
hysterical.
Members only privileges. This can mean anything for your studio, but again, we're building in the idea of us, right? This is an us
Hmm.
thing. Members only privileges can be, we call them barties at Flex. They are
Mhm.
just parties with a bar class. Anything that members get that average anybody off the street doesn't get is a members only privilege. Early booking, priority access, any of that is a members only privilege. My disclaimer for this is that there's a really fine line between community centered and clicky.
Yes,
And
that's what I was thinking.
you are the person who has to walk that line to make sure that it's not clicky, it's community centered. And it takes a lot of management on my end to turn it from a circle to a U. Have you heard that expression?
No.
Take your circles and turn them into U's. So a U, anybody can come in and chat, right? A
Yeah,
circle, it's
closed
hard to break
off.
into a circle, right? Everybody's stuck there. I remember, this is one of my favorite memories of Flex. I was standing by the mic getting ready for boot camp, and I looked out, and my entire 25-person class was just chatting, right? They were chatting, and they were all over, and they were sitting, and I actually took a video for a second, and I was
Mhm.
like kind of emotional. I'm like, this is what I opened the studio for. And I had a client who was a member, but she was we call them teal member. She was a 4 class a month member. So not a once a weeker, right?
Mhm.
And she wanted to break in and she didn't know how. And I could feel at that moment that we were going to break her little spirit because she really wanted to. And I was able to like make eye contact across the room to my client. Her name was Sarah C. And I looked at Sarah C. and I looked at my teal member and I looked back at Sarah and she got what I meant. And she like widened her part of the circle into a U shape and was able to bring
I
that client
love
in.
that.
And I was like, that's the difference between clicky and community, right?
Yeah.
So as you create these member only activities, we have to be really careful that we're not closing that circle. It goes from happy Yelp review to this place is so community oriented to angry Yelp review where this place is really clicky and closed off and I can't break in, right?
Yeah, tough
Nobody wants
one.
to feel like an outsider. So as you focus on community, which is really important for retention, keep that in mind. It's going to take an active participation on your part. Out of studio events, we do 1 a month at my studio. You're going to start thinking, oh my gosh, this is so much work. I barely have time to tie my shoes and do my payroll. How am I going to do this? I recommend you give it to somebody else. At
Mm.
Flex, we had what we called fan ambassadors. It was a member, 2 of our members. I paid them in fancy workout clothes. They would do 1 event a month. They had to come up with the idea. I would blast it out on the marketing. They had to go and I would create the sign up. So I had 2 fan ambassadors. They were my 2 happiest, loudest, most extroverted clients. They'd plan 1 activity a month, a hike, a tea, we're going to the movies, a brunch, any of that, 1 a month. Some of them were in studio where we would do like movie night on the projector at the studio or like a wine and cheese night. The fan ambassador program is what saved my studio when I went on maternity leave because my magic touch that was so involved, I couldn't do that anymore, right?
Yeah.
And then I realized when I came back from maternity leave that I don't have to do that. I can outsource that. So I had
Yeah.
somebody else do it and I just put it on the schedule. So I recommend for a lot of these things, give it away. I'm writing a blog right now on delegating.
Mm.
Delegate it. give it to somebody else. Studio, that was what I call my fan ambassadors. So they plan the events that were out of studio. Out of studio is really great because it takes somebody from a workout friend to an
Mhm.
actual friend,
Yeah.
right? You can't talk in the middle of a bar class or a TRX class. But if you're on a 3-mile hike, you're going to get to know the person standing next to you. It was really cool to see it go out of Flex's walls and out of the other Limitless clients' walls. I have a client right now who's doing broom bar, where they're doing bar on the bridge with brooms, like witches bar, and then they're going out to a wine bar who's doing like a cauldron theme for Halloween. So that's her event for this month, and it's sold out immediately, right?
That's
Like
amazing.
it's
I mean,
really cool.
when you said out of studio events, I kind of pictured like, okay, we're gonna do a fitness class at a brewery, at a winery, but you're talking about literally get out
Literally.
of the studio,
Yeah.
even if you're in the studio
Yeah.
physically, get out of the studio mentally, I'll call it, or
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah. Go on a hike,
figuratively, I'll call it, and just yeah, like we're
picnic,
gonna
like
watch a movie.
we're gonna chat. We're gonna become actual friends, not just
Right. I
workout
always
buddies.
notice that going to the gym, it's like, these are my gym friends.
Mhm.
Wait a second, why aren't they my real friends? Oh, because we've never done anything outside of the
Because
gym.
nobody has told you should yet, right? So invite your gym
Yeah.
friends out for drinks or something.
Very
Then they
creative.
could be your real friends, right? So that
Yes.
was out of studio events. Um,
We
Same with
talked about
specialty classes, kind of in the same idea there. Themed classes. We do an 80s bar, we do a Beyonce bar. Anything that's going to get people out of their comfort zone and make it fun and give them all of these. We call them bardies, right? Bar, TRX, yoga, whatever it is. Then we have a little 30-minute mixer afterwards. It's usually a potluck. It costs me nothing. I'm not shelling out. I am the cheapest bottom line watcher alive. I am a very cheap person. I get crap for it all
Well,
day long.
fun doesn't need to be expensive.
No, you don't need to. I have clients where I'm like, please decrease your event budget. You're losing money on these events. You don't need to have these catered. You don't need to
Right.
bring in expensive wine, right? Cheap champagne and orange juice. Call a mimosa bar. Do a
Right.
potluck. Have everybody bring in a snack. Like, I'm not saying that you should break your budget. Actually, if I coach you, I'm going to hawk eye on your bottom line the whole time because metrics are so important to me. Doesn't have to be expensive. Workout buddies, we already talked about, right? Those are my friendly clients that I put my new clients with, who will help the client around. This is what we do in boot camp. This is where you put your mat. This is where, everybody hates being the new kid where you're like, where's the towels? That's this person. Workout buddies. These people are trained. I take them out to lunch. I buy them all lunch and I say, okay, you are my top 10 MVPs. I can't run the studio without you. I need your help. Actually, this photo, these are some of my MVPs right here. These were some of my ambassadors.
Nice.
I need you to help the new clients. And they wear that cloak with pride. And then they do your job for you, y'all. Outsource, delegate.
Yeah.
Member mixers and activities. I talked about this a little bit. This is like, we would do like a margarita bar, like BARRE, right? Where we would take class and then drink booze. This is anything that you can get people talking, playing. We would play bingo where you would have to meet other clients. Like, just think about how you can get your members chatting about something other than grippy socks and how much they can bench. Christmas cards and birthday classes. I recommend you write a Christmas postcard to all of your members. Tell them how much they mean to you, right? It doesn't just have to be Christmas cards, but Christmas card season is coming up. And birthday classes. If it's your birthday in my studio, I ask you ahead of time. That way I don't embarrass you. But we usually do like however many burpees you are turning, right? The whole class will do it, or we'll sing happy birthday in a chair pose, or we make a big deal out of birthdays. The more you can make a big deal out of your clients, the better.
Yeah.
Philanthropic events. We do one a quarter at Flex. We usually do a donation-based class. We donate the money. Sometimes it's a big deal. We do a whole weekend silent auction, raise 10 grand. Sometimes it's, hey, this class on Sunday is a donation only class. We're going to donate it to the local animal shelter. I got this idea, well, for like a formal thing from a junior leaguer, which is a women's volunteer organization, right, that I'm involved in. And she belonged to a gym. And she was telling me her story. She's like, I go to this gym. It's kind of dirty. Smells kind of bad. It's close to my house though. She's like, but, and her eyes light up. She's like, every Sunday we get together and we make sandwiches for the homeless shelter. And I'm like, that is very clever, right? Every
Yeah.
Sunday, this whole gym gets together. They make these sandwiches. She's like, it's like an assembly line.
Yeah.
We brown bag them all and then we take them to the homeless shelter. And she's like, and that's my like good deed for the week, but also that's my giving back to the community. If you do a philanthropic event, try and keep it local. Nobody wants to donate to the world as a whole, right? Make it specific and bring your clients together. We've done where we like brought in supplies. Everybody brought in different supplies for children affected by foster care. And then we like stuffed the duffel bags in class. We've done where people bring in new clothing for assault victims. And then we brought them in. Every time we called it pooling your privilege at Flex Fusion, they would blow me away. I had 300 members when I sold, and these philanthropies once a quarter were raising thousands of dollars and so many supplies. People want to give them an opportunity to feel good about themselves and help their community. Remember, it's good for your business and it's good for your clients.
Yes.
They are not mutually exclusive. Philanthropic events. I'm working on that blog right now. Member Appreciation Week. We do this every October. A lot of the Limitless studios that I consult, they also do it in October because October is kind of a lame month in fitness often. It's an entire week dedicated to telling your employees how great they are. Or either your employees, I'm writing the blog for Fit Degree on that right now, or your clients, right? So we do 2 separate weeks. We do Staff Appreciation Week, Member Appreciation Week. Every morning, every day, it's something small but different. An Epsom salt station where they like fill little Epsom salt baggies for themselves, or a coffee bar, or smoothies in the morning, or, you know, themed classes or wine after class, like just little member appreciation things. And then we also hang up little business cards that have how many classes each client has attended or their start date. And that's hung up like a daisy chain around my studio.
Okay.
I've had clients rearrange vacations so they wouldn't miss Member Appreciation Week.
That is a good sign.
They have literally been like, when is Member Appreciation Week this year? Because I have a vacation to Hawaii. I'm like,
oh my goodness.
You would skip Hawaii. So they would like move their trip to be appreciated. Appreciate your people. They'll stay longer. Swag is self-explanatory. We get our members member tanks or milestone tanks or founder tanks. People will do anything for a free tank top. Or not even a free tank top, a paid tank top that just has something special in it, right?
Right.
Surveys, if you want to know more about surveys, it's in the blog on Fit Degree's website, but you need to survey your clients. I loved the idea of the secret shopper from the previous presentation. I only caught half of it, but same idea. Ask your clients, what's going well? What's not going so well? What do you wish I was doing? What should I do more of, right? Don't guess, ask is one of my favorite quotes. Lastly, Bring a Friend Month. We always do it in November. We give away an entire week. I hate free things unless it is with a sales process and a value proposition. We do Bring a Friend Month. My second year at Flex, I had thrown Flex Giving together, Bring a Friend Month. That the previous year, I just thrown it together. All right, let's do it. Everybody can bring unlimited friends for 1 week during this time. And then if 3 of your friends join, you got 3 months free, right? Threw it together, never thought about it again. November 1st rolls around. The previous year's winner is standing at my desk going, hey, Niki, when is Flex Giving? And I was like, what's Flex Giving? He's like, you know, when I bring my friends and then I get free months. I was like, oh, starts tomorrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say November 17th. You didn't get the message?
It's coming right away. Oopsie daisy. So Bring a Friend Month. That's your whole list. It feels exhausting. It feels exhausting even telling you, right? And I know because I am a coach, right? I know as people sit through Limitless workshops, especially where I talk about retention, and they're like, this is too much work. I can't do this. You know what else is a lot of work? Finding new clients.
Yes, I was gonna say. All of this is less work than finding new clients.
Right?
And these are all things that once you set them up, they just exist. Like you said, like the Bring a Friend Month. It's like put all in the work, do it the first year. The second year, it's a little bit easier. By the third year, it's just kind of a document that you're like, all right, turn on Friends Week. And then that's it.
for my clients, I have little folders, and some of them, my most organized ones, they use their folders where they have like, this is my January material. This is what I do
Yes.
in February, right? Our 12-month calendars, we really use a lot in Limitless because I want you to think about it in January and use it for the rest of the year, right? Like
Yes.
you're going to set, okay, in October, I do member appreciation week and my philanthropic events are January and April, and like set it ahead of time, plan it. We just got done doing a 90-day planning with the Limitless clients. We did our 90-day planning last week for the next 3 months. My clients' quarters are planned. I hate, this is my pet peeve. I hate last minute activities.
Yeah.
Because you're going to spend more. Your marketing runway is too short. Nobody's going to show up. And then you're going to be in my inbox telling me it didn't work. It does work.
You didn't give it a chance.
You need a 4-week runway, right? That's a different topic. But this feels like a lot of work, but I promise you that some of it you'll do, some of it you'll delegate, and some of it you'll be able to reuse each year. Reuse your same Canva set.
Oh,
right?
Oh, absolutely.
Reuse your same Instagram post. You don't have to be reinventing your marketing every single month. In fact, you'll do better if you don't, because people like to know what to expect.
Yes.
Okay, they signed. Now what, right? How are you going to keep them? Here is another little way, these 4 to remember. I loved this stat that I found. Increasing customer retention by just 5% can increase your profits between 25 and 95. Yes, that is a huge range. I read the whole article when I was reading this. They explain why. The article is linked in here. But just 5%, going from 85% retention to 90% retention, your potential for increased revenue, huge, right?
Yes.
Depending on how much your memberships are, if they're recurring, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm going to leave that with y'all so that you can think about it as I'm making you do this whole list, right?
Yes.
There's a reason. Here's the reason why. Here's your bullet points. Make sure your staff and members know the new client by name. We're a big name-based studio. I hate being the new girl and then being like, good job.
Yeah.
Drill the names. We would use their photos, right? We would take their photos and we would use their photos. I used to drill my bartenders because we have these big, beautiful windows at Flex, and the clients would walk by the window. Before they got to the door, I would ask my bartender, what's her name?
Yeah.
She'd say, oh, it's I was like, it's Ashley, right? She walks in, hi, Ashley. That's a Flex thing where
Makes a
as you walk
huge
in,
difference.
yeah, as you walk in, I'm saying, hi, Kate, hi, Sarah, hi, Nick, hi,
Right.
right? How's your dog? How's your kid? How's your life? Like, man, that cheers effect is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I look for it as a client because I don't want to be just another member. Nobody wants to feel like they're unimportant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure your staff and members know the client by name. Introduce them until they're no longer new. And that could take a month, could take 6 months, depending on how often your client is coming, right?
Right.
But you are continuously introducing them to people until they can walk into the studio and go, oh, hi, I know you. You need to judge for yourself when they're no longer new. Help them create a schedule with familiar faces. So we build our clients' schedules for the first 3 months. We help them at Flex. We'll say, okay, you're a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, gal. Here's your Monday, here's your Wednesday, here's your Friday. Let's build some accountability. If they don't show up for 3 weeks with a client at risk report, I call them or email them and say, hey, let's do class together. We're helping them create a schedule with other people who show up on those Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, right? So they are creating a routine. It's hard to create a routine and meet people if you are wishy-washy. Enroll them in upcoming events. Do that for them. Hey, our challenge is starting. Let me sign you up. Hey, did you see that we've got a mixer coming up? Let me sign you up. You need to create or have maybe a little bit more of a hands-on approach to do something like this. If you have a studio manager, give that to him or her. And then continue to follow up with them every month for the first 90 days. So the first 90 days of my clients' contracts, I'm checking in with you every 30 days. How's it going? What do you think of your Monday, Wednesday, Friday? What do you think of that class? What would you rather do? Let's just make sure that they still know that you're there, because that is one of the most common times for a new client to decide, well, can't do it. You lose them right out of the gate. Okay, there. Train your staff.
Yes.
You have to train your staff. right? If you can create this amazing business plan and this amazing mission statement and this amazing policy. And if I walk into your studio as a new client, I go to a lot of my clients' studios. I like to travel, obviously. Here I am in London. I like to travel. So I like to check out studios while I'm there. I'm visiting a client here while I'm here. I get to check
Nice.
into one of my clients. I guess sometimes like I'm never sure if I want to tell them I'm coming. I could be like
No, I
really
feel
a
like the
secret.
secret shopper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's a great opportunity.
After class, I get to tell them, hey, did you notice that girlfriend in the back corner like didn't have the right equipment, or she wasn't greeted, or like I get to be kind of that like Oz. So most of the time I realize that the owner and I have just been working on this for the last 6 months. I walk in and it doesn't happen. You have to train your staff, your teachers and your desk staff, or it's not going to happen, right? Best laid plans and all that. So we do quarterly trainings at Flex. I recommend quarterly trainings for my limitless clients. I know it feels like a lot, but it is the key to your success actually sticking.
Yeah.
You don't need a mission statement that nobody knows. And so often nobody knows it, right? They should be able to pare it back, everything that's important to you. We train the teachers in one room. My manager or my director trains the bartenders in another room. And then we get together and we practice the handshake. We practice the sales. We practice the new client tours. Practice. Put it on the calendar that it's the second, Sunday at 4:00. That's when we had to do ours because, everybody's teaching part-time. Here's some of the things you want to practice. That handshake I talked about, new client introductions, the circle to U shape that I talked about earlier. That takes skill to be like, hey, let's broaden our no clicks. Clicks will sink your ship because nobody, everybody experienced like the mean girl middle school, high school, right? And we all have baggage about that. So make sure that your community isn't getting too clicky. How to invite an outsider in, how to build community, practice with your staff. I'm almost done. Look at me. Follow up and potentially automations. I didn't use automations at Flex, but I know some people like them and some people use them. But your follow-ups that you want to kind of aim for, I've touched on these a little bit, but here is a little like screen that you can have. Create your client's schedule and attendance goals together, and then check in on them to keep track of them. I really love the intro report, as Nick already knows, because I tell him that it's phenomenal all the time. I think it's the best one out there. And that shows you, right? That shows you everybody you need to keep track of. Go back to the previous month and see, okay, how are they doing? Did Mary fall off the wagon and get ran over? Like those first 3 months are really important. You want to reach out at least monthly. I prefer every 3 weeks because clients tend to say like at the 30-day mark, oh, I haven't used it in a month. I want to cancel. 3 weeks is a little bit safer to save somebody, right? If you know their goals and you know their ideal schedule where you have new clients standing in front of you saying, I want to do X and I'm going to come X number of times. Write that somewhere. Remember that.
That's ammo.
And check in, right? Oh, Ashley, you said you wanted to come twice a week. I noticed that we've fallen off the last couple of weeks. Is everything okay? What's wrong? Not feel good? Having a hard time making it to class? Check in. A little bit of check-in saves you from the dreaded, I need to cancel email, right?
Yes.
I hate that email. You can feel it in the pit of your stomach. Member at risk report. That's that 3 week. That's not my job. That's my director's job. Somebody calls, we call it the principal call, right? The call from mom. Hey, where you been? 3 weeks is your secret there. Halfway check-in. So now we're talking, you've got a 12-month contract. Check in at the 6-month mark. We do, we call them fitness achievement sessions at Flex. We talk about your goals. We match them to our schedule. How are we going to make your goals and our schedule marry so that you actually meet your goals? We do a halfway check-in point with all of our members where we sit down and say, okay, what were your goals 6 months ago? You wanted to lose 10 pounds. That's a really common goal, right? How's it going? My success story to this is I had a client named Suna who's constantly shopping around, pausing her membership, trying different studios, and she'd come back very proudly, by the way, and be like, Niki, I tried that new studio and they were just not as good. I'm like, I know, Suna, why do you keep trying?
That is too funny.
My example of Suna is that her goal when she started, she had 2 kids in 2 years. She was coming
Mhm.
back and she was just trying to kind of like find herself. At the 6-month mark, I sat her down. I'm like, okay, how's it going? She's like, I'm coming, but now I want to see like results, right? She's like, I want to lose 2 dress sizes. I want to lose 10 pounds. All right, let's look at the classes you're taking. Gentle yoga, really good for your mental health. Not going to get you to the goal you want now. And I was like, you've
Right.
never taken a boot camp or a circuited. Why not? She's like, well, I'm afraid. She's like, that sounds so scary. Great. I told her, I was like, I'll take the first one with you. After
Yeah.
that, I'm going to give you a workout buddy. Suna was ready to cancel her membership. She wasn't hitting her new goals, right? She had tried this like intense gym because she's like, well, I tried it because I want to lose this weight now. I got her into boot camp with me. I put her in circuited with a ambassador, right? She became a regular in that circuited circuit. So now she's not new anymore. Suna stayed forever. Suna's still at the studio, right?
Yeah, I
If
mean,
I
you helped
hadn't
her
checked in
achieve a
with her,
goal.
exactly. If I hadn't checked in with her, I wouldn't have known that her goals had changed
Yeah,
and she
that's
would have
so
left.
that's so interesting. You had to think like, all right, what are your goals? 12-month contract. Okay, 12 months ends. Did you achieve those goals? And they're like, yeah, I changed my goal like 4 months ago.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, I didn't tell you. And
Yeah,
now your studio didn't meet their goals,
right.
right? Well, then you just lost that client. Last is the renewal conversation 30 days before expiration. Remember, we are so much better at keeping clients before than we are after. After is too late. There's
Mhm.
no skin in the game after. Have that renewal conversation 30 days before somebody expires. Maybe you need to tweak their membership. Maybe they need to go from twice a week to 3 times a week. Maybe they need to go from 3 times a week to twice a week. Have that conversation beforehand. This was a fun little stat I found that was talking about like your reach outs. Most people want to send an email, right? Most
Mhm.
clients want to send an email. Email is the least converting of all of the contact attempts. That doesn't mean you shouldn't email. You should. There is a place for email, but it shouldn't be your only trick in your bag, right? I liked these 2 stats. Texting after initial introduction has 112.6, very specific,
Yeah.
percent higher lead to trial conversion. So lead to trial, we're talking, hi, what is your class schedule to? Okay, I'm going to try this intro. So if
Okay.
you text them after that initial conversation, you have 112% increased chance of them actually doing an intro, right?
Right.
That goes back to connection. Automation does not count here. I tell my clients, if I can tell it's automated, doesn't count as a contact point.
Yeah.
Your client can tell too, right? And nothing builds community faster than a hi blank. How would like it needs to be real.
Yeah.
If you're going to
Authentic
automate it, make
outreach.
sure it feels real.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're just checking a box. It doesn't count. People can tell the difference. Last one is that phone outreach out converts emails by a significant margin, right? It's about an 8% margin, which is significant considering we're trying these points of contact, right?
Mhm.
So I know I am an elder millennial. I'm also allergic to my phone. Everything goes straight to voicemail. You should still do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, this isn't about your comfort with your friends, right? It's like this is
Yeah,
business now. This is a little bit
yeah,
different. I'm not a
right.
big fan of public speaking. It doesn't
Here you
matter.
are.
If I gotta do it, I gotta do it. So
we're
yeah.
still we're still doing we're out here doing things we're uncomfortable with, right?
Yeah. Part of
If
ownership.
if you were an introvert, like a true one, and the idea of like these studio mixers makes your skin crawl, I am the captain of the extroverts club, right? I'm out here making friends with the dogs on my walk, and like I already know like the person who sells me my tea, like I already know her name. I've lived there 3 weeks. I'm like, how's your kids? This comes naturally to me, right? That doesn't mean you can't do it if it makes you feel slightly uncomfortable. Pick 4.
Right.
Pick 4. Maybe you pick the Christmas cards because you don't actually have to talk to somebody, right?
Right.
Maybe you pick the milestone celebrations because, again, you don't
It's
actually have
about
to talk
someone
to somebody.
else. Yeah.
Yeah. Pick the ones that make you feel like you can be successful. You don't have to do all of these. Pick
And
4.
then start delegating the ones that
Mhm.
don't.
Exactly. Give them away. Give them to your teachers. Ask your teachers, hey, does anybody feel like they have a little bit more to give? Would anybody like to take on our ambassador program? That's what I did. right?
Right.
I was 8 months pregnant being like, guys, here's my list of stuff I do for the studio. I'm going to another state for the next 3 months. Who's going to take what?
Yeah.
I'm going to pay you for it, obviously, but who wants something? And then when I came back off maternity leave, I didn't take it back.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is all
Like,
yours.
this is actually going better
Yeah,
now that I
no,
don't have
no
to use.
takebacks. Second half of my life started again. Last quote, a satisfied customer is the best business strategy of all. I love it.
Yeah.
Love that one.
Couldn't agree more.
It's key, right? Quit trying to get more clients. Just keep your clients. Forever.
Right. I was gonna say it'll be a byproduct. You'll get more customers as a byproduct of having your happy customers for
That
sure.
gives you your referral program, right?
Yeah.
Your Yelp reviews, your Google reviews. You can use all of these to help you. I have coached a lot of my clients I've had for more than 3 years now. I don't market for new clients, right?
Right.
Charisse is the same way. Charisse doesn't have to be out here marketing for private clients because they almost always find us.
Well, it comes up in conversation of
Yeah.
like, hey, what's going well? Or what's going on? Oh, my studio's doing this. Oh, mine was doing that too until blah blah. And it's like the same conversations are happening with our software, same conversations are happening with the fitness clients in your studio. You know, if you're solving a problem, if you're filling a hole for someone, it's gonna naturally come up in conversation.
Totally. You can spend so much less money marketing. Flex didn't market in like the digital software. We didn't spend gazillions of dollars on our marketing. We would do guerrilla marketing, we would do event marketing, and we had a really killer referral program, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All of those are free.
Right.
Bottom line.
So now going back to that checklist, if somebody wanted some help with that to get started, what would be the best way to find you, connect with you, continue this conversation?
If you want to look at some of the blogs, here are some of the specific blogs where I talk about specific programming, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's yourlimitlessstudio.com. You can also just at me in the Facebook group, y'all, because I'm in there as the voice of the blogs anyways. So that would probably be the fastest. I'm also on Fit Degree's website under the preferred partners,
Yes.
right? For Limitless Studio. I only have 2 spots open. This is not an urgency pitch. I only have 2 spots open right now because I just opened 3 new spots. My son started preschool, so I opened some spots. I don't have like an unlimited amount of bandwidth for private clients, but I do have a ton of blogs on there. We do workshops every month. The upcoming workshop is building your Black Friday specials. We're building them. It's on the 24th of October because you need a runway.
You need to plan 30 days out.
30-day marketing runway. So that's the best way, yourlimitlessstudio.com. And there are some of the blogs if you want to look into specifics, or at me in the Facebook group.
And in the business portal, we'll have a recording of this. We'll have the slide deck available. We'll put the links to both how to find Niki, but also some of her favorite blogs. And yeah, this was great. I really appreciate you coming on today and sharing all this.
I was happy to be here. If y'all have questions, because I am already in the Facebook group, ask me, right? I told you, I like retention stuff. I'm in there commenting all day anyways. So if you have questions about something, just let me know. I don't mind at all.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, Niki. We will let you get to bed now. I'm sure it's past 10 o'clock now.
It's late. It is late. Okay, I'm going to bed, y'all.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right. So we're going to let Niki get on out of here. Thank you so much for everyone attending today. I hope you took away a golden nugget from each presentation. In a couple of weeks, we'll have this up in the business portal, all segmented out with all the resources our presenters gave us. And until next year.